guitar riff, that lovely little descending riff, and I was writing a different song about a different subject, and I was writing down the lyrics, and suddenly I come across the lyric. I just wrote a lyric down. It was, I closed my eyes, and when I looked, your name was in the memorial book. And I suddenly brought the death of my father into focus. This was probably, I was probably about 30 years old when I wrote this song. Dad died when I was 18, and I dealt with it by never speaking to anybody about it, not even my brother. Nobody ever. And I looked at this lyric and I thought, you know, there's something else it's one of those songs, it doesn't often happen, it's one of those songs that I wrote in about one sitting, bang, there it was, the whole thing. I sat and looked at the verses and I thought, you know what? If I sing this damn song, people are going to come up to me and talk to me about this, and I'm going to have to be able to talk to people about it. I'm not sure how I felt about that. So, about a week later, I played it to my keyboard player, Cara Tivi, and I got her to play that melody around it. And I played it to her once, and she said to me, oh, that's lovely, it's about your dad, isn't it? I thought, okay. That works, obviously. And so I started singing it, and people started coming to me and talking to me about someone they'd lost, and I started talking about what happened to me and how I felt about it. And it's great because every time someone comes to me and talks about that song and says it's helped me deal with the death of my father, I smile and say, you know what? It's done exactly the same to me. So that song is a kind of self-medication in terms of the therapeutic thing about it, you know. And it's, as I say, it has a special meaning as well now for that thing as well. It's somehow, you know, Mum was pretty smart about that. The other song she chose was a line dancing song. Her coffin came into a line dancing song called Hillbilly Rock, Hillbilly Roll. Because she went dancing to well, she went to 4 dancing clubs every week, different dancing clubs, tea dance clubs. Yeah, oh yeah, she was incredibly active, my mum. And yeah, I said, you're joking, aren't you? She said, no, I want my dancing friends to know that they're all comfortable. So we put her dancing shoes on top of the coffin as well, which was brought in. So that was beautiful. It was a beautiful thing. So yeah.
There's a nice scene in the Man in the Sand documentary where
with my mum.
Ask her which of your songs she likes, and she can't come up with one.
It's better than that. She says, "Well, I've never really liked his music." And there's a pause, and then she looks. I say something. She looks at me and says, "Well, you know, the school did lead us to expect a bit more." She was quite like that. I was talking to someone last night about it. I went to a live radio programme with her on national BBC Radio 4 called Woman's Hour, and they were discussing parents who don't understand what their children do for a living, which is one of my mum's a classic one. And so we're discussing this thing, and you know, I'm talking about what I do, and she's talking, and all of a sudden, just out of the blue on live radio, she says, "Of course, you know, he never comes to visit me." And I'm like, "Yeah, Mum, that's." You think every time I come to London, you think I'm on holiday, don't you? I'm working. I'm actually, yeah, well, what work do you do? You never seem to be doing it. Oh. She was great like that. Once I got into a face-to-face confrontation with the leader of the racist British National Party in Barking, and surrounded. He was dressed as St George. It's a stupid story. It was St George's Day. He was dressed as St George. He was going to ride through the streets. He had about 20 BNP with him, the fascist supporters, and he was on doing a live TV thing. And I walked around the corner and there he was, so I just went over and butted in and said, "Excuse me, Mr. Barnbrook, you know St George is the patron saint of our country. You know he was born in Lebanon, didn't you? You know he was the the sort of person that if you take control, you're going to get thrown out of the borough." Oh, all hell broke loose. It was great. His final parting word was, because he had a horse to ride through the streets, he said, "That's it, I'm getting on my horse." anyway, later, the guy who filmed it said, "Is that your mum?" Because she came down to meet me in town, and I said, "Yeah," and he went over and he said to her, "You know, Mrs. Bragg, you must be very proud of Billy." And she pulled herself up to her full height and said, "I have 2 sons, I'm proud of them both." That's my mum. So yeah, I've no idea where I get it from.
All right, we have some time for some more, right? Let's do it.
What else are we going to do?